Why buy your next vehicle from Community Motors of Mason City?
Great service from 3 locations: Community on Monroe, Community Motors Westside, and Mason City Ford. 10 new franchises and hundreds of vehicles to give you more choices. Plus, Community offers an exclusive 3-3 warranty on pre-owned vehicles and 10-year, 250,000-mile warranty on new. Need more reasons why? Stop or visit CommunityAutoGroup.com.
Because nobody beats a community deal, nobody.
Number 2 is presentation by Police Chief Mike Lashbrook regarding community issues. Mr. Trout, would you like to introduce the Chief?
Yes, the Chief is here tonight. He and I have been having discussions about various items related to crime that's going on in the community and the job that the police department does and various departments and things that they're involved in. And during that conversation also, I had talked to a number of council members about things that are going on in the community and the mayor. And through all those discussions, I thought that there are a lot of good things the Chief and I were talking about that are going on. And I thought it was important that he come and explain to you in complete and also to the community about some of those things that the department is doing in order to be vigilant in protecting our community.
Thank you. Mayor, council members, Mr. Trout. As Mr. Trout had already stated, in light of recent incidents, I've been asked to provide an overview of the services and activities involving the Mason City Police Department's efforts to address community issues and concerns. First off, I'd like to say that the mission of the Mason City Police Department is to provide professional public service through partnerships with the community to improve quality of life and maintain public trust. And for over 30 years, policing has recognized that the problems that face the community are just that, community problems, and thereby requires collaboration with those concerned. We have long recognized the value of community outreach, crime prevention, and enforcement rests through our partnerships with other governmental agencies, community organizations, and the citizens of Mason City. No one person or organization has the answers, the ability to address the complex nature of crime and social issues that relate to crime. However, in our efforts to do so, we've become involved in the following. And I just want to say this is not an all-inclusive list, but officers' patrol assignments are limited to 1 or 2 areas of town. This is a community policing concept which stresses the importance of establishing a relationship with persons living in the assigned area in hopes of forming those collaborations through trust and understanding. Familiarity with beat assignments also provides officers with the ability to better understand the dynamics that play a part in some of the criminal and neighborhood issues, which hopefully will result in better, more long-term solutions. We have conducted neighborhood door-to-door surveys in order to gain better insight of the concerns and issues facing specific areas of town. This also provides the opportunity for residents to meet their officer in a more relaxed environment. The Domestic Abuse Coalition, we participate with other law enforcement agencies and crisis intervention services to provide support and protection to victims of domestic and sexual violence. We've also undertaken efforts to work with pawn shops, metal recyclers, and construction companies to detect and identify persons involved in thefts of metal and equipment. Mason City Police Department is a member of the Mental Health Advisory Council, which meets monthly to discuss issues and services. Of particular interest is the interaction between persons with mental disabilities who are in crisis and law enforcement. We are currently working with Mental Health in North Iowa to develop a curriculum that will train officers in crisis intervention techniques. Mason City PD has a spot on the Youth Task Force Executive Committee and Safe Places team. The Youth Task Force addresses issues facing our young people in regards to skills building, school violence, bullying, drug, alcohol use, and abuse. Our school resource officers serve as role models and resources for students and faculty members of the Mason City and Newman school systems. Through information technology, we have developed strategies to get information out to the public which would be of their concern. Through the use of our police department website, Code Red, and press releases, we have found a venue for mass dissemination of information in hopes of protecting and generating assistance from the public in general. The Community Policing Advisory Board is a group of volunteers who work with the police department in providing education outreach to the community on such issues as personal protection and child safety. The Community Policing Advisory Board is responsible for the National Night Out event that takes place every year in East Park. National Night Out draws over 1,500 people each year and provides them access to many community resources all in one place. The Park Watch and Cemetery Sentry programs. The Mason City Police Department provides trainings to persons who volunteer to watch over our city parks and cemetery in order to minimize acts of vandalism and theft. Training involves proper reporting techniques to dispatch, tactics for suspect identification, and personal safety. Seniors and Law Enforcement Together, or SALT, is a collaborative effort between Mason City PD, Cerro County Sheriff, Clear Lake Police, Elder Bridge, and the senior citizens of Cerro County. The purpose of SALT is to decrease crime and the fear of crime in order to raise livability for our seniors. It's also to increase and improve senior crime prevention and education, also to improve law enforcement's knowledge of the crime prevention needs of seniors, and to identify the concerns of local senior citizens. Twice a year, the SALT provides a forum in the spring and the fall, which many senior citizens come to. We put on programs for them at that time. Again, there's many resources available for them at the forums. The Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau, through grant funding and collaboration with Mason City police officers, are better able to promote safety through traffic enforcement efforts. While many people feel that we're better things to do, it should be noted that traffic enforcement is one of the most proactive functions that the police department can perform. Traffic enforcement provides a means for detecting and deterring crime. It promotes public safety and public relations, and is a source of intelligence gathering. The North Iowa Drug Task Force, which was formally organized in 1989, consists of a 9-county region. Member agencies have long recognized that the problems of drug use and sale are not confined to any specific areas or jurisdictions. The purpose of the task force is to unite and coordinate with all law enforcement and correctional agencies in the 9-county area for the purpose of identifying, apprehending, and prosecuting drug traffickers, and to reduce the availability of controlled substances. The Special Operations Group, or SAW, is the tactical arm of the North Iowa Drug Task Force, and the Mason City Police Department has 5 officers on that team. It is a team of specifically trained and equipped officers that provide support for member agencies of the North Iowa Drug Task Force in areas of search and arrest warrants, barricaded subjects, hostage situations, and high-risk building and field searches. Our department also works closely with federal agencies, the FBI, and in this particular instance with the ATF, who helps us to prosecute firearms crimes. Persons who are convicted felons, domestic abusers, or take part in drug cases involving firearms are referred to the ATF for federal prosecution. And lastly, and our most valuable resource, are the men and women of the Mason City Police Department, sworn officers and civilian staff, who in addition to handling over 25,000 service requests per year, provide that personal service and familiar face to our citizens, which hopefully helps to alleviate their fears and provide comfort when in need. Providing professional public service through partnerships with the community to improve quality of life and maintain public trust is our purpose. And our commitment to that purpose is demonstrated every day through our interaction, cooperation, and dedication to the public that we serve. So,
Thank you very much, Chief. We very much appreciate you being here. I know, and then we'll open this up here for council to ask you questions or give observations. One of the priorities of this council is to do their best to provide you with resources to reduce crime. Do you feel like you have what you need?
Well, I think you can say that it could always be better. Funding is always the issue, as it is with every other city department. I think over the years since I've been chief, and probably even before that, the councils have always been supportive of the police department, and we've appreciated that. I think when the time comes for the budgeting process, we submit our requests, we make our arguments or a justification for it, and we see how things go. But at this point, looking at our needs are to maintain our equipment, keep it upgraded when necessary. Training is a big issue for us. I think we have one of the best, we're developing one of the best training programs in the state as far as police departments go. We have a lot of officers that are instructor certified and do very well at their job. So training will be an issue also.
Thank you. Council? Ms. Over.
Well, I, being a past president of the neighborhood association. Really appreciated you and the officers coming out, introducing yourselves, familiarizing yourselves with the neighborhood, folks getting used to like who's out here working this area. It was so great to see all those officers in uniform there. That was really appreciated. I know it was their day off, maybe time off, whatever, and very, very much appreciated. And then I've gone to a North End partnership meeting and officers were there as well. So it's kind of nice to see that you're working so closely with the neighborhood associations. Another thing I'd like to give you a little plug for is your police academy. That was very well attended and appreciated. All the time and effort, Mason City Police Department, Saragordo County Sheriff's, very informative, just over the top. I really, really enjoyed that. But I appreciate the North Iowa Drug Task Force as well. It's really nice to know that we have an entity out there, you know, specializing in that area. So thank you for the great job you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Solberg. Anything else down here? Mr. Hickey.
I know you and me had some discussions during the budget process as far as staffing levels and different things. And I understand where you said adding a couple more police officers wouldn't necessarily, you wouldn't be able to cover the community any more effectively probably than you already do. But what can we as a city council help you and your staff in any way, whether it's through neighborhood watch programs, citizen involvement? Is there anything that you see that we can do to help you?
Well, I think that
as a city and as a council or and a community.
I think that probably when we talk about the perceptions of the community here as of late regarding the violent crimes that have occurred, I think a lot of what we look for and what we work for is the cooperation of the citizens. I think, like we talked about as far as staffing, giving a couple more officers, I can't really say in any good conscience that that's going to make any kind of impact. The real impact that gets made is the involvement of the citizens. And it doesn't necessarily have to be through service organizations or things of that nature. We're looking for the person on the block. You know, that things are going on, they have concerns or issues, to contact the police department. We can set up a one-on-one meet, whatever, but we can help them in trying to help us. And I think that's really when you talk about the community involvement and the community problems, that the more involvement that the citizens take, they're the eyes and ears. They're the ones that can help us the best. So to me, it would just be to try to keep promoting that.
Okay. And I noticed you said something about you've had neighborhood surveys that you folks have took. Mm-hmm. Any information data that you've collected as a result of them that where maybe we can form some citizen committees or groups or to help out?
The surveys really didn't address as far as whether or not they wanted to try to organize or whether or not they wanted to meet with officers. The surveys were more to try to get information from them regarding quality of life issues within their area, what their concerns were personally. We used to here a couple of years ago try to do kind of like the town hall meetings with the police department. We set it up in the four quarters of the city, and attendance was just not there. And we are far more getting good information concerning quality of life and also concerns in their areas with the one-on-one contact. Obviously, they're freer to, or they're more comfortable in opening up to an officer in a one-on-one situation and having those discussions. So we've gotten a lot of good feedback on that, and to be quite honest with you, the officers have enjoyed that too.
Okay, because it seems like you said, there's a perception that the crime is up a little bit, and I know I've noticed in some of the different areas in town, and I know that's a big concern throughout the community, and I hope we can address that and make that a priority. And like I said, we can help you any way we can. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. Mr. Kuhn.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Chief, for your report. I just want to say for myself, and I know my colleagues would echo this as well, that we talk a lot about job creation. Our priorities, public safety has to be number one, and from my perspective, we are here to support your ideas, your initiatives through funding and policy. I had the opportunity, it's been a month or so now, to ride along with an officer, and I'm not unique in any means by doing that, and I know my other colleagues have done that as well. But it was a real eye-opening experience for me, and I wanted to do it just to get a perspective, because I'm not a law enforcement official, and even though I'm taking votes that will affect policy and funding, I wanted to get out there and see what they do firsthand. And Sergeant Clemens was, it made me proud to see the proactive work that he did with the citizens as we were driving around. There were some people who have had incidents in the past with the law, and he would make sure and get out and talk to them, say, hey, how are things going? And, stay vocal with them to make sure that they know that the police officers are here to help, not to have that negative feeling towards them. So having that proactive approach, and I'm sure all your officers do that, but it was really eye-opening and experience, and something that made me a proud citizen to know that our officers are out there doing that. One question, and Councilman Hickey talked about a little, there has been some discussion about neighborhood watch programs. Do you, and citizen involvement and communication is always going to help in our community. Do you see that as an opportunity to get people involved? Obviously, there's some high-profile national things out there that might shed a negative light on that, but I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, neighborhood watch is something that the police department has been involved in for years. Just on my experience, the neighborhoods that are still going and sustaining are the ones that are doing the work. The police department will come in, will help set it up, will help facilitate some of the meetings and stuff. The real sustainability in the program is the willingness of the neighborhoods to continue to work together and watch out for each other. I mean, neighborhood watch is a throwback to the 40s and 50s when everybody knew who everybody was, and obviously that is faded. One of the things that my understanding is a hindrance to neighborhood watch is when you start to get into rental properties and things like that. That's more transient type population. The ownership maybe isn't as much as long-term residents are, and that can influence or affect the neighborhood watch attempt. It's through Citizens Police Academy, we generate that kind of information. The more understanding they have, hopefully the more willing they are to participate and report. I don't know that, I mean, if somebody wanted to form a neighborhood watch group, we'd be there. And we would certainly help that, and we would encourage that. Because again, I'm going to keep repeating myself. I think that, the real strength in the community is the community and citizens banding together to basically stand up against the things that concern them and the things that make them afraid.
I think what you said, no one person can, really do this by themselves. That really is something that we should try to get out in the community to increase that communication. One last thing before I run out of time, and I don't want you to name specific neighborhoods, but do you, I'm sure your officers and yourself are tracking some of the issues involved with drugs and some of the violent crime. Are you seeing that targeted in specific neighborhoods?
No. I would say that the drug problem here in Mason City is all over town. I would say that the violent acts, there really is no predictability. And to that extent, I would say, the violent acts, obviously they're tragic and they cause public concern with good reason. But in Mason City, when you can't predict them, because they're not as frequent and don't involve any specific groups or people or things of that nature, you can take the homicides that we've had in the last 4 years, and each one is separate in and of its own. There's no relatedness to it at all. And that, I guess, if you're looking for the silver lining, is a good thing. I mean, I don't think anybody is saying that we can eliminate this or we should get rid of it, or that we can get rid of it because it's going to happen. I think the good thing, at least in our community, is there isn't that predictability, to where we say, okay, this is the part of town, or these are the people, this is the group that we need to watch, because these are the ones that are doing all the work. They're committing all those crimes.
I'm running over time here, but thank you for your proactive work and the work that your officers do, and thank you for the report, Chief. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Keenan. Thank you, Chief. Anyone else down here? Anybody before we move to response? Okay. Ms. Silver.
I just wanted to hit on something that Mr. Hickey brought up about the neighborhood watch. We're just in the beginning stages out there talking to Officer Ryle about it in Central Heights. And the one thing that sparked my interest was that he said that there were grants available out there to assist with extra patrol for neighborhoods such as ours. I mean, is that true throughout the whole city, or was he making reference to some things we had going on out there?
I'm not sure. We have some grants now that, one is the Territorial Accountability Grant, which we use when we try to identify, well, to do directed enforcement, that we'll use that. When we had the saturation patrol up in the north end here a month or so ago, that was through the Territorial Accountability Grant, and a lot of it based on the neighborhood surveys that we did. It was in response to those surveys. So I don't know if that's what he's talking about. I would have to ask Officer Ryle specifically, but that would be my guess, is what he's alluding to. Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau might be something as far as funding available to do that too.
Thank you. Thank you, Sulfur. Anyone else have a response? Mr. Hickey.
Tell me a little bit about your reserve officers program that you have.
Well, we have about 5 reserve officers now. The good thing, or the thing about a reserve officer, it's not a job. This is something that they're genuinely interested in. They're getting $1 a year for it. We appreciate the help that they give us and the training that they're involved in a lot. They have full-time jobs, and then they still have to devote at least 14 hours of patrol a month with the police department, and not to mention when we have in-service training, they need to attend so many hours of that too. Like I said, it is beneficial, especially when you have somebody that's trained. They have to be certified through the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy, so they are just more than a volunteer. They're I won't say quite a certified police officer, but they have the knowledge and some of the experience to go along with it. There is a screening process. I mean, we certainly would welcome more reserves. It can be kind of hard to sustain in the fact that, you know, work and family to them obviously has a higher precedence. This is just kind of I won't call it a hobby, I think that's demeaning, but it is something of interest, but yet not to the level that it is to a certified officer.
Because I can see where that can benefit you, even when it comes time to hiring new full-time officers. You would have a feel for what these candidates bring to the table. I know you've got some on your current staff that came through that program. So I would encourage anybody, if they, and I think we're short of 4 police officers at the moment.
We'll be down. Yep.
So I can see that also as a great means also to help you for future recruiting and stuff when officers retire or whatever may happen. So maybe that's an avenue we could look at bumping up a little bit too. But in the past, and this is my follow-up, again, I think you guys are doing a great job. I've told you this numerous times. Probably got one of the best police staff that I've seen since I've been growing up. I think you guys are doing it, and a lot of that attributes back to you, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hickey. Anybody else? Chief, thank you for being here. There's no question yourself and the MCPD is doing an absolutely spectacular job. If you need anything, you know you can come back here. Folks out in the community, I think the message from Chief is pretty loud and clear. I mean, we're doing what we need to do. However, everybody can help. We have the opportunity for neighborhood watches, neighborhood associations, and as the Chief said, involvement of the citizens is what makes the big impact. And, you know, don't be afraid of snitching. This is your community. It's your kids, it's your family, it's your house, it's your home. So if you see things in your community, call them. I don't think they certainly aren't going to say no. They're going to love to hear from you. They're going to want to hear from you. Thank you very much for being here, Chief.
Thank you.